the President of Cricket West Indies, the Vice President of Cricket West Indies, the Director of Cricket. They can spin it however they want. They can blame whoever they want. The facts are, the undeniable facts are that under their stewardship, West Indies cricket have gone lower, as Carl Hooper prescribed. They can blame armchair expert like the Cricket Forum. They can blame CARICOM. They can blame insularity. But they cannot get away from the fact that under their stewardship, West Indies team performances have sunk lower. Hello everyone, and welcome to the #1 cricket channel in the Caribbean. I appreciate you being here, and I look forward to our interaction as we review some comments made by the Vice President of Cricket West Indies at the Under-19 Girls closing ceremony. Joining me this morning is once again Basil Butcher Jr., the son of the former legendary West Indies cricketer Basil Butcher Jr. Basil Butcher. Thank you, Basil, for joining the Cricket Forum this morning. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, Carlton. Good morning to your viewers, and thank you for having me again.
Thank you, Basil, for being here. Back in the early noughties, late 90s, early noughties, I was someone who couldn't bear could not bear Ram Narayan. To me, he was a divisive element. Mm-hmm. As I become more mature and learn and get a better understanding of what he used to do, mm-hmm. I realized that Ram Narayan was so powerful because of the incompetence of the West Indies Cricket Board, the directors who never used to dot the I and cross the T, and so Ram Narayan could pick them apart. Mm-hmm. In recent time, Basil, after West Indies were bowled out for 27, Ram Narayan once again went on the offensive. In a very lengthy article, which I cannot go through all of it here, yes, he responded to that 27 all-out. Yes. Basil, this is a portion of what he said. Where else in public life can you fail repeatedly, spend public funds, and still keep your job? In cricket administration in the West Indies, failure is not only tolerated, it is protected and even rewarded. Basil, I would love you to respond to that comment from Ram Narayan, please.
I think Mr. Ram Narayan hit the nail on the head. He hit the nail on the head. Why would we be still in this malaise after all these years? And you have people that are at the helm of administrations, whether it be regional or territorial, for what we would say in the Caribbean, donkey years, despite the continuous failures, because they have excelled at having the ability to win elections and not do the job they were winning the elections for. So what we have said, many have said for years, there's a lack of transparency, there is a lack of accountability, and a lack of professionalism when it comes to the administration of West Indies cricket.
Thank you, Basil. Here's another part of the comment, and what I'm giving you here is just snip of the comment. It is online. You can find it online. It is all over. It's a lengthy article. Mm-hmm. He went on to say, Basil, board members pay themselves what they want. Select players based on personal loyalty and treat team results as irrelevant. Whether we win, lose, or humiliated, the outcome is the same. They stay in power. Basil, pick that apart from it. do they pay themselves what they want, or are the board members being paid, or what is the situation with that?
Yeah, I understand the board directors are being paid, right? They have a stipend every month or whatever you want to call it. I don't know how that's determined, but they get a decent amount per month. Some have told me it's upwards of 2,000 US. I don't know if that's true, right? Players selected on personal loyalty. I can't comment on the personal loyalty, but what I would say, you have players both at the primarily mostly at the territorial level. I can't speak for the West Indies, that have been getting picked because of friends and family, that kind of connection to the selectors in whichever territory they come from, right? The team results, well, Mr. Scarrett, several years ago when he became president, made a presentation, and I would hearken people to go back and listen to that presentation, the Sir Frank Worrell lecture that he did, where he stated we had spent over how much millions of dollars in coaches, etc., etc., and the results remain the same. So therefore, Scarrett made this presentation for how many years ago? Well, 4 or 6 years ago. It would be 2019, sorry. So it's 6 years ago. And yet still, follow that presentation was talking about the fundamental problems of West Indies cricket, which goes all the way to the root. Yet still, here comes, following the 27-run debacle, you're hearing from the higher ups at Cricket West Indies, it is a systemic problem. Mrs. Scarrett said that to y'all 6 years ago.
Basil, one of the things that when I heard the vice president and the president, the director of cricket, want to blame everyone, what I'm not understanding is that they were elected to improve Cricket West Indies performances. They were elected because they campaign that they can improve the quality of the teams.
Mm-hmm.
So now that they are in those positions, going 3 years, they are now blaming everyone else instead of taking the responsibilities. Because it appears right now, it doesn't matter what they are doing, results are getting worse.
Yeah, I mean, look, I saw the former Prime Minister of Trinidad, Dr. Rowley, push back at Dr. Shallow's assertion that CARICOM is to blame because of their lack of investment in infrastructure, etc., cricket infrastructure, and so on. And he pushed back at that notion. No, let's be clear. Government investment is very important in the various territories. However, it is incumbent of the local territorial board to make the case to their government the importance of investing in cricket and how it would, one, benefit the people of the country and as a larger picture, West Indies cricket. And I would like to know how many of these cricket boards, territorial cricket boards, have come with such a concise program proposal to their respective governments as to how to improve cricket and investing in cricket in a systematic way that it would improve the structures and West Indies cricket as a whole and the cricket in their country. You're muted.
Sorry about that, Basil.
Yeah.
Many Jamaicans at this time are lauding Dr. Bennett, the new president of the Jamaica Cricket Association, for doing exactly what you are saying now, Basil. Dr. Bennett was able to do what Billy Avon could not do, was to impress upon the government and sell a product to the government, which the government have subsequently invested in. And many persons are of the opinion that if Dr. Bennett was the president, then Jamaica would have staged World Cup matches. Let's look at the third part of this lengthy, and again I say that what we are looking here, the comments that we are looking at here this morning, is not even one third of the article that Ram Narayan
Mhm.
put out. He said, in any other institution, this kind of dysfunction would trigger resignation. But in cricket, there is no consequences, just silent blame shifting and a press release to spin. Just we and I'm in particularly want to address the press release part because I would have said it on Tuesday evening that the press release from Cricket West Indies is just spinning. When the press release said there will be an emergency meeting, which 1 week now, and we do not know if that meeting had been held or anything. I don't know if you know that it has been held, Basil, but
No.
it was supposed to be an emergency meeting, and we should have Lloyd, Richards, and Lara involved. That was just spinning it and trying to quiet the people to give the impression that they are doing something. Basil, how do you address that comment from Ram Narayan?
Look, yeah, it's always been the same thing. Having lived in the United States for so long, and you see sports teams and so on, and you see how coaches get fired, GMs get fired, and so on and so forth, because their role is to make the team's performance it comes under their scope. And if the people see that the direction you're moving in and what the moves you're making, the results are not panning out, you got to go and we got to find somebody else we feel that can get that job done. That doesn't seem to happen in the West Indies at all when it comes to our cricket. I have said this, and I'm very disappointed about this. The West Indies Cricket Board, in its infinite wisdom, and this is not these guys here. This is going back years. I've been saying this since the early 90s, right? Why don't they come to the United States and interact with those sports teams and sports leagues and get the practices and structures and systems and the way they go about the professionalism to be so successful when they lie on the doorstep of our region? Cricket Australia came across the world and went to the Boston Red Sox and interacted with them to develop their scouting system. What have we done in terms of that when it vis-a-vis United States? And I will say this: had we done that, our cricket would not be where it is today.
Thank you, Basil. That's a very solid point. Before I go to the fourth thing. It's five things we're looking at. We're at number three. But
Mhm.
before I go to number four, I want to ask you. You said earlier that Skerrit said that they have spent millions of dollars on coaches, yet still the cricket has not improved. Do you think that they had gotten value for money? Were these coaches held accountable? Did they put in the work? Was the program implemented properly? What's your thoughts on that comment from Skerrit and spending
I,
millions on
I
coaches?
think what Skerritt was I think what Skerritt was saying, the issue is not the coaches coming and coaching the international teams. The issue lies below that. And until we clear that up and fix and have a proper structure
Uh,
of
all, all the point there because this is you
right,
can tie it into this fourth comment.
yes.
Territorial boards where players' preparation and development begins have failed us miserable. Our players are effectively learning on the job because they are not being properly prepared at home. And before you answer, that's the point that I was making
Mm-hmm.
on Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
that it doesn't
Yes.
matter how much cricket you play
Mm-hmm.
if you don't get the basic properly.
Correct.
You won't make it. Go ahead, Basil.
Yeah, I mean this ties into what I was just gonna say in reference to what Skerritt was essentially saying. It- we could change coach, we change captain, and the results remain the same. It's because the players that are coming through are not being prepared or not being developed to compete in international cricket consistently, right? So he said that 6 years ago, and now today, after the debacle, you're hearing the director of cricket saying it's a systemic problem, right? And well, we would ask, what have you done fundamentally to address this systemic problem?
Yes. And there are others who will say that we are here and we can point out those things.
Mm-hmm.
But the members of the community who are always here for the past 2 years would have known that over the past 2 years, I have listed many ideas of how West Indies cricket can develop from the grassroots level, from basic school levels in Jamaica. I have numerous ideas on the home page, numerous videos dealing with how we can develop West Indies cricket from the basic school level right up to the under 19 level. I have numerous videos on the home page dealing with that. I am a bit happy, but at the same time disappointed that it took the director of cricket 2 years before he started putting forward one of the ideas that I have suggested all those years. So I am with you, Basil. We must develop the players from the grassroots level. I have always pointed out that Jamaica have a track and field template where from the basic school level right up to champs, there's a development process. And I definitely think that is something that we should follow. No, Basil.
No, before you go on, I just want to add on to that. I brought up the Jamaica track and field program as a template that cricket should be following. And one of my friends said to me, "Well, they're getting subsidized." I said, "No. Let's them get into this. Let's look at the principles, what they're doing. It is showing you this small country, Jamaica, with just 2 million people, can produce so many world-class athletes. There is always, you always go and look for clues in success. And this is in a region where our cricket is struggling. Why don't we look at that?"
Yes, Basil. Okay, the fifth and final point that I removed from Ram Narayan article, he said government must take steps to reform the governance of cricket. This start with a complete overhaul of the acts of parliament that govern sports. Just imagine, some boards have as many as 47 members and not one cricketer among them. That's the equivalent of a doctors' association with no doctors. Basil, how do you react to this, please?
Look, I could talk about my country, Guyana Cricket Board. There is not one cricketer on the cricket board of Guyana. You know what I mean? We don't have any cricketers there. You might have people who profess they play a little club cricket here and there. But I talk about serious cricketers, people that play at least first class cricket, right? Because they will have an understanding of what needs to bring
I don't cut you, Basil, but are you saying that this statement from Ram Narayan holds true to what is happening in Guyana?
Oh yes. The Guyana Cricket Board don't have a single. We had Roger Harper on there as a technical man, and because of some disagreements Roger Harper had with them and so on, they kicked him to the curb. Right? I mean, there's a whole ego thing going on, right? Because the bigger picture is cricket. We got to put our egos aside, right? So when you have discussions at the board, who gonna be talking cricket if you don't have people who are well versed in that? You got people who pretend to be, right? And look, I have asked a question in regards to Guyana. I speak about Guyana now. We had a cricket act that was passed in Parliament not too long ago, probably it was during the last, I think it was the last PPP government. that ended in 2015. During that time, I think that's when it was passed, right? Or the previous the government that preceded it. Anyway, I have asked a question and I've yet to get an answer, because in our Cricket Act, the constitutions of all the of our county boards are part of that Cricket Act, right? This is an act passed in Parliament, the law of the land. However, in our current president's first term, the board voted to change the length of tenure from 2 years to 4 years. Now, the question I'm asking, do they have the legal ability to do that? Because this is a law of the government. How can you change something in the law of the of the nation, both in the Cricket Association? I would think, I mean, from a layman's point of view, I would think you would have to go to Parliament and amend and change it from 2-year term to 4-year term. I've yet to get an answer, because I've asked a few lawyers and some of them tell me, but you know, anything I do, they got to get some of this. Well, I said, I am not paying for that. I just want to see, you guys are practicing law in Guyana. Can you look into that if what they did was legal?
Basil, one of the things that I've never been able to wrap my head around. Sport administrators always asking government for money, and they are always saying government don't invest in the sport. However, on the other hand, whenever government says something about the sport, they cried government interference.
Mm-hmm.
I am of the belief that if the Jamaican government is giving the JFF millions of dollars a month, they give the JCA, the JNA, I think it's 18 sports that the Jamaican government contribute to each month. I am of the belief that there should be somebody from the public appointed by the government. He or she should not have voting rights. I'm not saying that that person should have voting rights, but that person should sit on every one of those boards as an observer, because taxpayers' money is contributing to the sport. You can't be asking me for money and it's saying that I must not be aware of what is going on. So I firmly believe that each one of those entities that the government gave taxpayers money, there should be a representative from the people on those boards. What are your thoughts?
I agree with that 100%, and I will go a little bit further and remind you. You remember when Dr. Gonzalez, the PM of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, was the chair of the subcommittee on cricket, and they were going through the process, you know, regarding the West East Cricket Board. And one of the things he said, they were working on legislation, so you would have, just as what Ramnarine is talking about, you would have a consistency of acts across the region in terms of the governance of cricket. So you want to have something in Trinidad and Tobago, something in Jamaica, something in Barbados, something in Guyana, and you know, these differences there. There would be a consistent act, so the governance of cricket would be consistent throughout the region. And I think that mantle has to be picked up again, because I believe all the nations must be on. It's the same way we want the same principles adhered to in the development of our players throughout the different territories. Is the same way the governance must be.
Thank you very much, Basil. But in response to Ramnarine comments, the Vice President of Cricket West Indies never take it lightly. He came out firing on all cylinder. Listen to the Vice President of Cricket West Indies.
Same three critics crawl out of the woodwork, wasting no time to launch their attacks on West Indies cricket. But let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen. The real decline of West Indies cricket didn't begin on Monday. It didn't begin last week, nor did it begin last year. It started a long while ago. Under the leadership of one of those three, when he headed a regional organization that almost destroyed Caribbean cricket in the early 2000s. Back then, every Monday morning brought a new scandal, a strike here and a court case there. Chaos and confusion reigned with the norm, all spearheaded by this same individual. And now, like a wolf in sheep's clothing, he dares to act wounded by the events at Sabina Park. The morning after the match, a long-winded epistle appeared on social media bearing his name, but clearly not written by him, dripping with false concern and manufactured outrage. This from the man who lit the very fire he now pretends to extinguish. A hypocrite of the highest order, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah. So, Basil, he was not pulling any punches there whatsoever.
Here, let me tell you something.
Go ahead, Basil.
I know Ram Narayan personally, and I have had this discussion with Ram Narayan years ago. And I can tell you something. I loved Ram Narayan. Ram Narayan was a staunch advocate for the players, as he should be as the head of the union, right? Because, again, living in the United States, I have seen the players' union of the various leagues just as ferocious as Ram Narayan, right? To protect the interests of the players because that's their job. Ram Narayan, West Indies board agreed with the players on X. I thought it was 10. He reminded me, he said, no, it's 11. And every time they did not live up to their agreement, he took them before the arbitrator and beat them 11 times. So how he's a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? You see, yes, these guys in the Caribbean, because they're living in such backward situation, I'm sorry to say this, they're not living in the modern world because they lack accountability. Here was a man who was making sure he kept the feet to the fire.
Yeah,
all of union leaders, union sports leaders here in the United States.
I get the feeling that these guys who win elections on a promise that they're going to make West Indies cricket better, and because it is going lower, and we armchair critics, according to the vice president and the president, is asking questions, holding them accountable. They do not want to be held accountable. And so they see these questions as personal attack, forgetting that we are all supporters of West Indies cricket and want West Indies cricket to do well. In that clip, the vice president said that the decline in West Indies cricket didn't started on Monday, last Monday. But I want to ask the vice president, you are in charge of your country cricket board for the past 15 years, and they have not won the regional 4-day tournament in those 15 years. Secondly, I want to ask the vice president, what are you doing to reverse the decline? Yes, it never started on Monday, but you are there now for the better part going into 3 years. So what are you doing? What are you doing to reverse the decline? Nothing. Clearly, West Indies cricket have gone lower, with test batsmen averaging 10 runs to ball that pitch in a good era. Basil, your comment.
Look, Ramnarine, nowhere in Ramnarine's comments did Ramnarine insinuate that this situation started Monday morning. So for the vice president to put that on Ramnarine's table is being disingenuous. All the things Ramnarine listed have been systemic problems for years. So I don't know why he put that next to what Ramnarine is saying in his comments. It's just that what we saw there, in my view, is the Trinidad cricket politics being aired in public. The various differences, because Ramnarine was part of a group that took the Trinidad Cricket Board to court because of the way in which the voting system to vote somebody into office in Trinidad Cricket Board, which is a very unique one compared to everywhere else. And they lost the court.
There's a clip in which he spoke about that, and I want you to save that comment until we play that clip. So let's listen to the next clip from the president, the vice president of Cricket West Indies, when he spoke about the second person. Remember that he said three people. What he said, three miserable creatures. No, I'm using his correct word.
Correct.
Three miserable creatures. And so there's a second clip about that second person. Please remember to slash a like on the video, click on the subscribe button. We need to get the subscribe up to 50. And these clips are courtesy of the West Indies Cricket YouTube channel. So the full speech is on West Indies Cricket YouTube channel. You can go and listen to it, and this is courtesy of it. And we are just doing it for the discussion process. That's why we have the rights to play it, because we are actually using it for discussion and edification. Mm-hmm. Here is the president, the vice president.
This is the pot calling the kettle black. This man sat as a director at Cricket West Indies for years and made no meaningful contribution, not regionally, not even locally. His only ambition was to occupy and macro in the chair that I am sitting on. He wanted it so badly, he resigned Cricket West Indies just to chase that dream. That, ladies and gentlemen, is not leadership, it's obsession. While he sat comfortable at both Cricket West Indies and the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board, his top priority wasn't cricket. It was securing perks for him and his family, his son getting a job, him jet setting across the globe, all at the expense of Cricket West Indies and TTCB. That was his real agenda. Every project he touched at the TTCB turned to dust, one failure after another. But the most shameful of all, ladies and gentlemen, is that he sat on a committee that had awarded a contract for the repairs to the Sir Frank Worrell Development Center. And guess what? His own company ended up doing the job. Is that a conflict of interest? That's putting it mildly, ladies and gentlemen. His time at the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board was never about cricket. It was about favors for friends, benefits for family, and good times for his drinking partners. So when he dares to call our president a colossal failure, let's be clear, ladies and gentlemen, he is the very definition of it.
Basil, very explosive there from the vice president of Cricket West Indies. He claims that this man, whosoever that person is, he never called on him. Jet settings around the world at the expense of Cricket West Indies. He only need his objective on the board was to get in perks for him and his friend. Very explosive, eh? He has what you'd call what's the word I'm looking for? Nepotism in award in his own company contract. Some very explosive comments here, Basil. Look, how do you react?
I mean, what he said there can be said for several members, directors in the past, or probably even some in the present, in terms of West Indies cricket, right? So, I mean, that is par for the course. So, I mean, him talking about that is not like no breaking news, man. Those of us who have followed West Indies cricket and know some of these characters who have been around all over the years, those kinds of behaviors have been par for the course. And that's part of the reason why we are where we are today.
Basil, let me get you right, and let me get to understand what you're saying here now. Are you saying that a large portion of the Cricket West Indies revenue is going towards things that are not relevant to the development of cricket, and it's just a matter about having drinks and traveling in around the world and getting perks? That's what you're saying, sir?
No, I'm not saying that. I said they do get that. I mean, when the directors go and they have their in-person meetings, I didn't even know this, but I was made to understand a recent meeting. Directors were able to bring their spouses with them. I mean, in the days when my dad was on the West East Cricket Board, my mother never went anywhere with him at meetings. And that's something, when I heard that, that was news to me. I didn't know those perks extended to your wife, that so you could bring your wife with you to meetings, and they usually stay at the best hotels and so on and so forth, right?
Let's let's hear what he has to say about the third and final person. And after this, I will come to your comments. Remind you that these videos are on the West Indies YouTube channel. You can listen to them in their entirety. Thanks, Cricket West Indies, for providing these videos. So, Basil, this is a third and final one, and here he talks about election and so on. And this is he's now addressing the third person.
The last one. Well, he has been carrying a top cricket office tabanka for over 15 years. Every week, like clockwork, he spills his bitterness onto the pages of a failing daily newspaper. Why? Because 15 years ago, he believed he was entitled to be president of the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board. When his close relative failed to become president of the then West Indies Cricket Board, he thought that the TTCB throne would be his. But in 2009, yours truly contested for the position and won handsomely. And just like that, his dream also crumbled into a rude awakening. Since then, he has been on a mission not to build cricket, but to tear it down from the sidelines. With spite, sabotage, and constant attempts to discredit the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board as his legacy. Let me remind you, this same man once served as secretary of one of the most prominent cricket clubs in the country, and reports indicate that he was the worst secretary ever in the history of the club, a total disaster. Members couldn't wait to see the back of him at his time in office was marked by chaos, mismanagement, and disappointment. So when these three miserable creatures dare to speak, and only criticize, let us remember exactly who they are. Not leaders, not builders, not contributors, but failures, disappointments. Men whose only skill lies in casting stones from the shadow of irrelevance. To the three self-appointed critics, I say this: if you truly believe you have the answers to cricket in Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean, if you believe you are the saviors of cricket, then step up. This evening, I dare each and every one of you to put your hat in the ring for the upcoming Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board elections this October. Any position, go ahead, test your relevance. I can guarantee you here this evening that combined, the three of you won't muster more than 7 votes.
Basil, very, very arrogant there. If you, from time to time, you would have heard that Dave Cameron was arrogant, but Dave Cameron arrogance dwarf the vice president here.
The man is the don of cricket in Trinidad and Tobago. What is disappointing is he's attacking the messenger. Let's just discuss the message, irrespective of the background of the messenger or whatever. The message is what we need to be. You got to attack and take that apart and not the message, the messenger, So you're obfuscating, the real issue, that is why West Indies cricket is in its current state, and what can be done to reverse this situation, right? So, this was just another attacking messenger.
Basil, the vice president, there are persons who, I personally think that his son is a good umpire, but there are persons who believe that his son elevation to the international panel is doing is the influence that he has over the CSOC to make that decision. And he was speaking about persons who getting contracts because of their position. But some would point out to that, Basil.
Yeah, of course. And the flip side, his president, the DOC, is from St. Vincent. The other guy, Gil, the guy who's in charge of the high performance, another guy from the Windward Islands. So I mean, when somebody from an observer, just simply looking outside it would be simple to ask, wait, man, how this guy get this job? Did he get the job because he's a countryman in charge? Or the man in charge is his friend? Or the man who is influential is his father? So you can't be casting aspersions, particularly like when the president said that people criticizes Sammy because he's St. Lucian. I would ask the president this. Many in the region, eyebrows went up when you appointed Bascom as the director of cricket. The first thing came to everybody, my way, this man get this job because he comes from St. Vincent, right? I mean, you could come and spin and say, oh no, he was the most qualified candidate and all those different things and argue and so on and so forth. But I will say this, from my outside looking, I was told one of the other candidates was one Samuel Badri.
Okay.
Now you make your conclusion. Listen to Samuel Badri versus listening to Mr. Bascom, and tell me, in your view, who you think would be the better person. I'm not going to say anything else.
Yeah. Basil, I do not in no way can tell the vice president what to do or say when he wants to do it or say it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, though, and the girls did clap at the end of the speech,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that these girls clap not because of the premise or the assertions that were made in the speech, but because of the number of loaded words that he used in the speech. I think that's why he got the clap. Loaded words always sound combative, and is the vice president talking, and these 15 and 16-year-old girls were naturally going to react with a clap because they say, yes, it's a part of our culture. But do you think that that was the appropriate place for the Cricket West Indies vice president to make those comments at the awards ceremony for those little girls?
No, I thought it was the wrong place to be airing the dirty laundry of Trinidad and Tobago cricket before these young ladies, who most of them don't have a clue of what goes on in Trinidad and Tobago cricket. I think it was not the appropriate place at all. And it took away from those young ladies the whole thing about this was supposed to be their celebration of the participants in the tournament, and now for this to be there. And I think the clapping was more as a result of, respect. The vice president of the cricket board spoke, and following whatever he says, you clap. That's all it was, because I bet you ask any of these young ladies, most of them probably didn't even know who was the vice president of West East Cricket Board before him stepping up on the stage there.
Yes. One of the things that came to my mind when I heard the speech in front of these little girls, and these girls are from all other countries in the region, young, innocent girls, and for him to project this war of words on these little girls, I asked myself, is it that he couldn't ask the Kiwanis Club in Trinidad or some other entity to make that speech in front of them? Is it that he thinks that this is the biggest audience that he can get? Is that a reason why he did it? You know, those were the things. He probably doesn't have any influence to get a bigger audience than the awards ceremony, the celebration of the girls at the end of the tournament. Basil,
Yeah,
why would he do that?
yeah, I agree with you. And I think what he could have done instead, since he felt so strongly about this, call a press conference and have all the press in Trinidad, and you advertise it would be streaming, because the title saying the vice president of West Indies Cricket Board is going to respond to some of the different things that were being said vis-a-vis West Indies Cricket Board following the 27-run bowl out, right? And yeah, and it could have streamed on the same West Indies Cricket Board YouTube page live, as well as other places, right? So we still all would have been able to see it and have the press actually asking him questions about what he was saying, so he could give further clarification or
Yeah, Basil,
challenge him on some of his assertions.
we're going to move on quickly, but I want to say this now. I want to ask you, Basil, it just came to me. When was it that we last have a quarterly press conference? Did we have any for the second quarter?
Well,
And when will we next have a quarterly press conference? Uh, when was the last time we have a press conference, Basil?
well, um,
It feels like more
what
than 3 months to me.
did they have one in Barbados recently? Well, you more could tell me, because well,
No, remember I remember that I've
yeah,
been removed.
yeah,
I-
you've been excommunicated.
yeah.
I thought they had one in Barbados when Australia and the celebration for the 50 years anniversary of the place. I may be wrong, but I thought maybe they did have one. But I'm not so sure. I can't remember if there was. So you have a point there about quarterly, or they may have
Thank you.
had one shortly before that. I don't know.
And Basil, we are now hearing, well, we heard from yesterday that there were many disgruntled Jamaican supporters, well, say West Indies supporters, who turn up at the match at Savannah Park, who were unable to enter the venue because once again, CWI did not handle the logistics properly.
Really?
What are your views? Yes, we are now hearing that, and so I am being told that Cricket West Indies is now saying that persons should turn up early to prevent what happened on Sunday.
Wow. I mean, well, if that is true, what you're telling me, here goes again West Indies cricket. Some of the little basics that you're supposed to get right, you can't get right. Jamaica has been in the doldrums when it comes to cricket coming to Jamaica, or Jamaicans coming out to support West Indies cricket for a few years now. And when the people now turn up in the numbers, you can't facilitate them. Man, that is not good at all. Hearing that, my friend.
Okay, yeah, it is probably something that we need to look further into. You know,
Yeah, you know something. Dr. Bennett did admit that the machine, the stuff that to print, because you know a lot of people in the Caribbean into this online buying the tickets and so on. They want to get a ticket in their hand, and lots of people wait on the day of the game because they don't have the same disposable income as other parts of the world to decide whether or not they're gonna pay to go, because suppose rainfall, me money gone, right? So the thing that would be printing the tickets arrived in Jamaica I think the night before or the day before or 2 nights before the test match was starting. So what he said, they would be printing tickets all night long for the morning, right? You
Uh,
know, I
yeah.
mean, that was incredulous to hear him say that. He admitted and he said he's been talking to the Cricket West Indies about these things, these kind of logistics, right?
Okay. Thank you, Basil. I never knew that, but when I heard the argument and the disgruntled fans of West Indies cricket were saying that they were turned away and were not able to go into the stadium, I was not I was not aware that it actually happened, but then someone said that told me I probably can check the West Indies website that they issue a statement asking persons apologizing for Sunday evening and asking persons to come out. So we can check the West Indies website afterward. Finally, Basil, and maybe you can address this. USA cricket is still on notice, and this time they are given only 3 months to reform their government structure and sort out their finances, which the ICC is very unhappy with. What is happening the finance and the government structure in US cricket, Basil?
But there's been a lot of allegations, um, um, where board members still remained in office, no elections, and people making decisions that they weren't warranted to make, and all kinds of things flying. They actually threw out two or three board of directors because these were people who were not going along with the party line. They took them to court and they got reinstated. The ICC, it seemed to have given them a little bit of a lifeline, because going into this recent ICC meeting, it was stated ICC, part of the conditions, because the USA Olympic Committee was, because to be for us to play cricket in the Olympics, our governing body got to be in line with all the values and policies that are required as an association with what the Olympic Committee requires. And they were very derelict. So the Olympic Committee was saying, look, we got to change these guys. And the ICC, obviously, it would be a stain on them. Here is the host nation of the Olympics, and they can't field the cricket team because their member has been screwing up, right? So the ICC was saying, what it was said, the ICC was requiring all of them to resign, and they fix up the election process and other things, and start from scratch. But it seems like they're giving them a lifeline. They probably have made a case that they beg and get a lifeline for the next 3 months. But based on what I hearing about, I doubt they'll be able to correct all those things within the next 3 months.
Thank you for that review of what is happening in US cricket leading up to the next 3 months, as because they were to be suspended at the meeting that just finished
Correct.
over the weekend, but as you said, they have probably asked for that 3 months. Good morning, Jamor Sumal, who believe that at the end of the series, the coaches should assess and implement. But I am interested in this comment from the champion, Basil, who said, I don't know why we don't implement some of the things New Zealand does. They are able to be great on a budget. Are you aware of what is happening in New Zealand, Basil? I am not necessarily aware, but clearly they are producing quality cricketers.
I am peripherally aware because I've had to look at New Zealand's restructuring of their cricket years ago, when here in the United States we were going through that process, and I looked at cricket boards from all around the world, what they were doing and so on. And New Zealand has, with whatever they have made really created a really good professionalized system for them. The challenge for us remains, because we live in a region, we have a unique situation. We have nation states several different nation states form up what is called West Indies cricket, and the various nation states boards. The West Indies Cricket Board does not have the ability to come into their country and tell them what they have to do in their country vis-a-vis cricket. They can give them oversight and different things. Maybe only at the regional territorial level, those franchises they have a say because they fund them, right? So as they say, who pays the piper calls the shots. But in terms of what happens below there, they don't have very much jurisdiction, and those are the challenges which New Zealand would not have. So they can implement those things, and we all know that has been the biggest challenge to the governance issue in West Indies cricket, and transforming the entire cricket landscape in the West Indies, like all the different people have done, the New Zealands, the South Africas, Pakistan, Australia, England, all of them, even India, because if you remember when the BCCI were taken to court and the three committee at the court there ran the BCCI, they had to come to them every time they wanted expenditure, they had to be approved until they got in line with what the court said, how cricket must be playing, because as the court ruled there, cricket is a public good. So you're using public funds, the government have a right to say, to have oversight over how you govern.
Basil, what if West Indies say to the regional board, this $60,000 US that I'm giving you each month, you're not going to get it unless you can show me that you're doing A, B, C, D,
I agree.
E.
They should do that.
Yes. Thank you. Good morning, Sherwin. Good morning, Lou Prudent. Breadfruit Man, it's probably good afternoon now in England. He's saying the West Indies need to research what made the former great players like George Headley, the three doubles, Sobers, Kanai, Butcher, and Richards. All these former great players came from poor backgrounds. I'm going to respond to this one very shortly. I don't think how it works then, it can work now. We have to evolve from the approach that we took in that era.
I agree.
But you answer this one because I answered the previous one. So who is the president and the board members accountable to? I know you can do that quickly.
I don't know who they're accountable to. Carlton, let me say this to you. Let me say this to you. I said this. All right. When looking from each territory,
yes,
the directors go to a meeting. Before they go to the meeting, the board would get the agenda of the meeting. So there will be a discussion at the board level as to how we're going to proceed in the meeting vis-a-vis this agenda. Right. When you return from the meeting, you get the minutes of the meeting. Right? The minutes, in my view, should be distributed to all the cricket constituents in the country. Let's say in Guyana, we have the county boards, sub-associations. They should all get a copy of this because they're the ones who end up voting people to get into office there. So then they could don't question, okay, well, why Guyana voted yes on this? Why Guyana voted no on this? Y'all need to give us an explanation. That would be a step forward in terms of holding them accountable. But that doesn't happen. Similarly, in Jamaica, the same thing Jamaica Cricket Board should be doing when they come back from the meeting. All the minutes get distributed to all the local associations throughout Jamaica and the clubs. So, and you would have a meeting where you will have to, there'll be a review of those minutes every time you have meeting.
Yes, and
that is a start.
Just to add to what you said in trying to paint a wider picture for Frank Wilshire. What happened? You have 6 regional boards: Jamaica, Barbados, Guyana, Trinidad, Windward Islands, and Leeward Islands. At every voting Congress of Cricket West Indies, each regional board has 2 persons who can vote for the presidency of Cricket West Indies. Mm-hmm. The incumbent president only needs 6 votes to return as president. Now, I have always advocated for those numbers to be, I comment to you, Basil, those numbers to be higher. Now, in Jamaica, I think we have 40 I think it's 40 something persons that vote for the presidency, because we have clubs and parishes, other associations like ISA.
Mm-hmm.
All of them is in the pool of voters, are representative in the pool of voters.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if you're living in Jamaica and you want to get involved, is that you need to join your parish association. How you join your parish association is a mystery. I don't know. You probably have to know persons, because the cricket is really an exclusive club when it comes to that level. So you have
Right.
I honestly don't know how I can join the parish association. Probably I can ask how I can do so.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you join the parish association, if that parish association have a annual general meeting, because some don't, and the presidents seems to be presidents for perpetuity. Yes, and so those parish association, clubs, intersecondary schools association, umpires association, they vote for the president and vice president of Jamaica. And it's the president of vice president of the cricket associations that choose the presidents. You were going to say something, Basil.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that the other thing too, I was going to say to is 7 people you gotta get 7 votes to be president, and think 12 people vote, so you gotta get 7 votes to be president or vice president of the West Indies Cricket Board.
No. You have, if you are the incumbent.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, the present president, he only needs 6 votes to retain, but for you to beat him, you need 7.
So if you end up in a tie, you retain.
You retain. So the challenger has to get 7 votes.
Okay, gotcha.
And so the president, and maybe that's why this president feels so confident, because he's always expected to get 2 from the country of the vice president, and he expects to get 2 from his country, and he's also expected to get 2 from his sister regional board. So he's expected also to get 2 from my board, because the closeness, relationships develop, and he does have a good relationship with our president, which nothing wrong with that, because people develop relationship over time. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, Randy Beckers is saying, and I love this comment, and I won't react to it, but I'll just read it. If Shamar Joseph was a security guard, then maybe our top batsman is a taxi driver somewhere. Talent search is very important. You want to react to that, Basil? But
I would like to say, batting and bowling are 2 different things, right? Particularly fast bowling. A guy could be a fast bowler like Joseph, that bowls with that kind of pace, and he for some reason he has developed from very early pretty decent accuracy, right? But batting calls for a lot more skills. Not to say fast bowling don't require skills, but batting calls for a lot more skills. You don't just pick up a batsman or pick a batsman out of the tree just like that. It takes a lot more development of a batter than it takes for a fast bowler.
Thank you very much. But yeah, Basil, I heard you, but I think the point he's making is that maybe those batsmen will be able to demonstrate those attributes, but they are not playing the cricket because we have lost them to other sphere.
Well, I would say this: if it's all about the first place you would find people is at the club levels for the most part, right? They go and join the club.
But I don't want. But Basil, what he's saying is that those persons who should be at the club, they are driving a taxi because they have to. Beth, send me a comment in the comment section, Beth, and then I will send you an email, and then you respond to the email. Good morning, Mrs. Brown. Good to have you here. I do hope you're having a wonderful day. Yes, yes. And she's saying that my concern, Serby, is the timing of the delivery of the speech. We had young children in the audience. Use the time to encourage them. No, sir. Basil, we are in agreement with that, don't we?
Exactly. That was not the forum to make that speech.
Yes. And she continued by saying, out of the, she's a highly spiritual person, so she said, out of the mouth spewed the issues of life. Yes. And TKR is saying, TKR is agreeing, Basil, that was the wrong place and time. He sounded like he used some extra strong mouthwash. Well, we don't want to go to us, Lord. Brian H., how you doing? It's a long time I haven't seen you on the live chat. Brian H. is saying, the VP is a joke. He's more concerned with power than with result. This is clear from his statement. Why is he talking about people outside rather than what is happening? Basil, how do you react to that?
Yeah, as I said, we have had a lot of people in our West Indies cricket over the years, administrators, who have perfected the skill of winning elections and doing virtually nothing.
Yeah, yes. Thank you, TV and Cricket Power Play, our very good friend there in Florida. Basil, I don't know if you know him, but he streams crickets all across the US. And if you have a league in New York that you want to be streamed, contact TV and Cricket Power Play. And he not only does cricket, but he does weddings and parties and functions and funeral and all of that. He has a mobile studio. So contact him. Mr. Casanova is saying, we better win tonight. I'm calling for Hope to be removed as captain and give it back to Ravman. What do you think, Basil?
Oh, that's funny. After 2 matches, well, not 2 matches, it would be Hope's 6th match as captain of the T20 team. Yeah, but it's interesting. Powell, like he forgot Powell got removed because Powell is not full into data only approach, right? So him and Sammy can't work together as captain and coach as a result. And then, remember too, the West Indies, I think they had lost like 11 out of the last 11 games under Powell. They lost 9. So that played a role that Sammy would use. But the question is this. I mean, I have raised this question. If Australia was to beat us 5-0 in this series, that would mean you change captain because the captain did not agree with your data approach, your full data approach, and you name a new captain, but the results remain the same. How will we deduce that?
And you will look at, and I you see, the thing about it with me, Basil, and I got your point. I got your point. I understand what you're saying, but I don't want to go down there until after the series.
Yeah.
I prefer to.
Yeah, let's wait. As I said, that is a discussion for after the series, what the result is.
Yes. Carl Diaz did the same. He didn't mean that. Yeah, I would have explained that, Carl Diaz, that he is the. Yes, I would have explained that. The president and the vice president are from the same island. I don't know if Sherwin is asking a question or not, but because he didn't put a question mark there, but yeah, they're not. Yes. So you need to put a question mark, Sherwin. Otherwise, I will say that you are saying things that are inaccurate because there's no question marks. I didn't know that you're asking a question. It's a weak Australian team, Basil. You made that point earlier. We should be able to beat this team, Basil.
Yeah, I mean the team is a lot of the top Australian players who would play if this was a World Cup were not in the team. They are now trying. They are now giving some other young guys a look because obviously Australia is preparing for the future, so they're starting to blood new players, and a bunch of those guys are in this team. There's none of those. For example, none of the fast bowlers that are playing would normally play in an Australian T20 team full strength. Not one of them, right? So. The only frontline bowler in that team is Mr. Zampa.
That plays Ellis is there too. Ellis would probably find a way.
Ellis has been in and out. But if Star, Cummins, and Hazelwood is there, Ellis is on the squad on the bench.
Yeah, yes, yes. I have a good feeling about tonight. I will be there cheering them on. We have what it takes to win, said Patrick Ascott. I plan to be there too, Patrick Ascott. But Basil, I want to come back to Cricket West Indies. And we heard the president blaming CARICOM, blaming YouTube channels or these armchair selectors, these armchair coaches, these armchair administrators. We hear that. We hear what the vice president had said. So we hear all of those things. And when this armchair selector or this armchair persons who know everything, I'm asking Cricket West Indies, especially the director of cricket, who has been on this channel. I will invite him back soon. I hope he accepts the invitation. What happened to the preparation of our under-19 team for next year World Cup? Every other country of their under-19 team playing under-19 matches against each other. What happened to the announcement or the selection of a squad or even a group of youngsters at the academy training? What happened to our preparation for next year under-19 World Cup? This is why people are beating you guys, because you're not on top of the logistics. Basil, what happened?
Well, one of the first things first, the under-19 regional tournament just concluded. And we must say,
No, Basil, I don't cut you. But the year that we won in 2016, there were a group of guys who were already camping and in training even before the under-19 tournament.
yes, yeah. Well, this is what I wanted to add, is that I was told there were some players in Guyana who rightfully should have been in the Guyana team this year, but were not selected because at the behest of West Indies, the West Indies Cricket Board, they had players they were tracking from the previous on the 17th tournament, that they requested they be included in the Guyana on the 19 team this year, rather than other guys who may have been better because they had been tracking them. So several different territories that may have happened too. Right, I don't agree totally with that, because it's age group cricket. Players could advance maturely in age group cricket. So to exclude a guy because he was not in the tracking, but he is probably better than the guys who got selected, I don't think was the best way to go forward.
Basil, I think that you putting it politically correct. How could you conceptualize such a decision? I always, Basil, believe in a core of players, especially at the age group level. You have these core of players. For someone to break into that core of players, they must show exceptional talent. Correct. So even if I'm tracking you, if someone else come up on the radar, it goes back to personal loyalty. I can't understand. Basil, I don't think you're telling me.
Because look, from my perspective, when I heard that, right, it is then now for the territory board to say the Cricket West Indies, no. We are the arbitrators of our players. Didn't you ask us to be the talent ID scouts of our players in the respective territories? And in our opinion, this player is a better quality player than the player you were tracking. So therefore, we're going to include this player. You know, not because it comes from Cricket West Indies means it's so. You know, so I don't blame.
So what's the purpose of the talent ID then, and this elaborate structure that they have? It's again.
That is where you would have seen the talent ID working in its glory when they in the respective territory could have said in no uncertain, no, this guy here has gone past this guy, so you need to include this guy.
It's just like the CSOC committee. We don't even know if they meet. Sherwin, I have to help you here. And again, clearly, you come and you say something that you really don't know about. Mal Bascom is a director of cricket. He's not the vice president. Right? So do not mix up the vice president with the DOC.
Correct.
The DOC is a paid employee.
Appointed position.
The vice president was elected.
Yes.
And as Basil is telling us, they get stipend, but they do not get pay. But probably the stipend is even more than what the pay is. Yes. I want to thank you all for tuning in. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much, Basil. Do you have a final comment, though, Basil, before you go?
No, I think we covered all the bases today. Tonight now we focus on the second game of the series and to see how West Indies would if they'll be able to come up trumps. I would ask you, Carlton, do you have any changes to make in the 11 for tonight's game?
From what I'm hearing from what I saw in the press is that it appears that Russell is going to play. Mm-hmm. That would have only been the change that I would have made, but from what I'm hearing, it appears he's going to play. I would have leave out Russell
and play Shepherd.
Maybe Shepherd. Yeah, I could play Shepherd because although Shepherd never bowled well in England, and that's a difficulty
with Shepherd.
With Shepherd because he doesn't give me the confidence that he's going to deliver, and I'm not quite sure about Jediah Blade.
Right.
Because according to my friend, what West Indies really lacked on Sunday was that fifth bowling option, and that is where I think that Shea Hope fell down because he should have gotten a Rastan Chase earlier to bowl his quota 4, and then we wouldn't need that fifth bowling option. So we could go, a change that could be made is that you include Joel Anjo for Andre Russell and say to Rastan Chase, we need 5 overs out of you. But do you want to go into the match with only 2 seamers? That's not going to look good either.
And I don't think Russell is going to be dropped because the West Indies board is marketing this match as Dre Day.
Yes.
So it would be highly hypocritical that you thought in this Dre Day where Russell's gonna bowl out and his career, you're marketing it, and then the fans who are Russell fans turn up on Russell on the bench. That would cause a serious commotion. So no, but it's an interesting point. Before we got on, I was watching South Africa and New Zealand play a game. There's a dead rubber because the two of them are going to be played again in the finals of this Tri-Nation series in Zimbabwe. And something that what's his name? The former fast, Sean Pollock, made an interesting point that, New Zealand only had 130 something runs to make. And couple of the batters, the run rate had come to where it was less than 1 runner over to win. Yet a couple of the batters got out looking to hit glory boundaries in hitting the air and got caught at the boundary. And he's saying, why in this situation you would be doing something like that? You should finish the game. And the question he was raising is a very pertinent one. Because the thing we notice about T20 cricket, the players are not asked to be consistent. Consistency is not something that is asked in T20 cricket in the way it is asked in the other formats. And he is arguing that maybe that needs to be entered so we can, so guys can't fall behind the thing. Oh, we got to keep going hard. and hit and get caught in the boundary and those kinds of things, there has to be a little more thought of game situations and so on when you're batting, rather than say you're going for the glory, hitting it over the fence, and you got a run rate of less than 1 run to win the match.
Yeah, thank you. Before we go, I see Carl Ditz here making a comment, and I just want to react to it. The West Indies age group level coaches need to develop better quality young players. I agree with that. And they themselves need to develop better skills too to impart it to the young players.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I understand that part. Too many glaring defects. A player who gets that far isn't going to want to break up his game up to rebuild it at 19 and 20. And why I want to pay particularly attention to that, Carl Diaz, when you become 19 and 20 and you are doing something and it is not working, it is now self-pride, self-motivation, personal responsibility for you to make the adjustment and evolve your game. So you cannot be stubborn to say, I have been doing this and I'm not going to change. If you take that approach, you will not be succeeding, and you don't blame persons for that, because that is your own personal responsibility to adjust and evolve your game. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for being here, Basil. Have a wonderful day, sir.
I would just add this. Steve Smith has constantly fixed this game. So if Steve Smith can do it, a 19-year-old could.
Thank you very much.